This is the Joe Gaither Show on BamaCentral.com.
Good morning, Tuscaloosa, Internet world, West Alabama. How we doing on this Friday, May 2nd? Hope you guys are doing well on this Friday. Looking forward to the weekend with you and yours. We are live in the Derek Daniels State Farm Studios, live on the BamaCentral YouTube channel, on the BamaCentral Facebook page. You are watching us on my own social media machines, at Joe Gaither 6. You can find us right there. Send us a comment, question, query, or complaint. You can always use the voicemail line at 205-462-7340, extension 800. If you want to chime in on the show, we're going to have a lot of fun here on the Derek Daniels State Farm Studio, in the Derek Daniels State Farm Studios. You can call Derek and his team at 205-758-3391 for all of your insurance needs. Oh, boy. First things first, we're here with Mason Woods. He's getting connected. But I want to apologize to the listeners, to the audience, because we messed up so bad yesterday. Of course, we had fun talking about Texas, yes, but the whole plan was to talk Wednesday offense and Thursday defense. Well, Mr. ADHD comes right in here and doesn't remember that until we're posting the show yesterday. I'm posting the show, and I'm sitting there like, oh, man, I was supposed to talk about the defensive depth chart. That's why I stayed up all night on Tuesday writing for BamaCentral.com, the defensive depth chart, the offense and defensive depth chart. You can see that at BamaCentral.com. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to apologize. We're going to get back on track. We're going to give you the football juice, looking at the Alabama football defensive depth chart with our friend Mason Woods. You follow Mason Woods at MAWoods_ on the Twitter machine. Good morning, Mason. How we doing?
Oh, I'm doing good this morning, doing good. As we're getting the show started here, I'm seeing that Boston College just got them a commitment, so it gives me something to handle today after we get out of here.
Do you need to take 5 and just knock it out, or is it?
No, I think
not high competition.
Yeah, I think it'll be okay.
You're not racing a whole lot of Boston College fan sites, are you?
I think it'll probably be okay. There, if I'm a little bit behind on that one.
All right,
we get to it.
What's his name?
Just had to pull
John Smith. John Smith, defensive lineman, 6'5", 245 pounds.
Steve Klein.
Steve Klein, we like it.
That's the name of someone much older than I would have expected.
That's the 1980s. you were born.
That's a 50-year-old man.
You were born in 1973. Steve Klein.
But hey, good on
and
you.
Steve
Eagles.
Klein is not a football player. Steve Klein is a baseball player.
Steve
Klein is
player.
a pitcher.
Yeah.
Steve Klein is either a pitcher or a designated hitter. That's what I think, or first baseman. Not athletic at all.
It doesn't really sound like a football player name.
Is he a tackle? Is he like not an athlete?
He looks to be in a skill position.
Oh my gosh, no, Steve.
Let's see.
I'm sorry, I'm putting you on the spot just because, and we don't know anything about this.
He's listed as an athlete, of course.
Yeah,
everyone's listed as an athlete.
He's listed as an athlete, but he's really
probably plays wide receiver,
defensive tackle,
and he's going to be a safety
guard, offensive guard.
6'2", 200 pounds. I don't know that they're throwing him on the line.
All right, Steve Klein committing to Boston College. Congratulations.
Had him an offer from Army. That's pretty.
All right.
Something.
Hey, he's smart.
Local kid, Westwood, New Jersey. So
nice. Good job, Bill O'Brien. Bill O'Brien scouting well.
They love I guess it's just kind of given where they are, just as a not that they're terrible or anything like that, but they're in the process of building. They love some local talent at Boston College. And good on them for it, but they recruit that area very, very well.
Creating loyalty, creating brand loyalty. That's how you do it.
Maybe Kalen DeBoer needs to take some notes about recruiting his area very, very well. That's what these Bama fans would say.
Oh, my gosh.
He's doing a good job this cycle.
The Alabama area, though, is coast to coast.
That's true.
I'm sorry, but like with the advent of the internet, the Alabama area is coast to coast. You start to get the, okay, I loved you, Justin Okoronkwo, and good luck at South Carolina. But when you get the out-of-country prospect, that's when I feel like, I don't really know about this person. Now, I think Okoronkwo is going to be a really good linebacker at South Carolina.
And I think that's 5 sacks against Alabama.
Yeah, that's going to be a problem. But you look at the inside linebacker room, and Okoronkwo said, I've got to go. Sorry, guys. There's no room for me.
Oh, man, I just don't. It's tough. And, I know he wasn't going to be the lead guy there this year, obviously, but he would have been very impactful, I think.
Would have been very impactful, but I think he's trying to get to the NFL as fast as possible due to his advanced age.
Fair enough.
I think he came here as a 20-year-old freshman. I think he was 20. He might have been 21 already. So I think he's trying to get me on the field, coach. Let me show off my athleticism. Yeah. The NFL will see my explosiveness and will take me, and I'll be a project for somebody, and it'll be great.
Yeah, good on him. Wish the best for him.
Yeah. We'll see him this year. Dax, no, not Dax, but one of our commenters about a week ago asked us to predict the season. We'll do that next week. We'll start getting into real football. Next Wednesday, we'll look at Texas. I'll reach out to Kirk Bowles and see if he wants to spend 20 minutes talking about Arch Manning, if Arch Manning's the real deal or not. We'll see if he wants to chat with us real quick. I've only reached out to him twice, and both times he said yes. So I would love for that to
100% success rate.
Exactly, to go 3 for 3, and then we'll see about other schools. We'll start making Wednesday. We need to make it like a moniker. Way back, no. There's no like preview Wednesday. Something like that.
We'll workshop it.
Exactly. You can send up your suggestions for midweek. I don't know. We'll keep working on it. We'll figure out some little moniker, some branding to sell our Wednesday previews for all 15, because we're talking about Alabama, all 15 SEC teams. All right, so let's look at what we should have done yesterday, Mason. I was embarrassed. When I texted you that yesterday, what'd you think? Because I texted Mason. I said, Mason, we've messed up today.
Did not even pop into my head. I thought, we did. It's a technical issue again. We didn't hit a button. We didn't turn a microphone on. Something. We left some music up too long. Something. I was like, surely it's some. But no. Alas, the show that we had teased for everybody that we had previewed.
I felt good. We planned 2 days in a row. Like. What? Who am I? Planning 2 days in a row? That's why we don't plan 2 days in a row.
This is why.
Actually, we will continue to plan 2 days in a row. This is practice. Messing up the first one. That's all right. Get on to us. Correct. All right. Second day in a row. We'll start planning more shows. We're looking at Alabama's defense today. We're looking at Alabama football's way too early depth chart entering the 2025 season. It is on BamaCentral.com. I wrote it 2 days ago for our cover. You can read it and follow along with me. We covered the offense on Wednesday. We went 40, 50 minutes walking through all the offensive positions. Before we go to the defense, I want to put a caveat, an asterisk, a little whatever pin on the offense. We did not talk about Kaleb Edwards. Tight end Kaleb Edwards from Las Vegas, I think he is. Tight end Kaleb Edwards coming in. We didn't talk about him at all because he's not enrolled yet. And frankly, Joe Gaither, I forgot about him. I was doing my depth charts and looking at the roll tides and looking at all things that my resources, and I forgot about him. He's going to be a summer enrollee. I think he's the only summer enrollee for this freshman class.
When is Chuck McDonald getting here?
Oh,
okay. That was the only other one I can think of.
But Chuck was on my list because he's so prominent.
Everybody knows Chuck.
Thank you. Chuck is also a summer enrollee. He's not here yet.
Another California guy.
California boys, they're undeniable.
I mean, Kaleb Edwards, very, very physically impressive, 6'6", 255, was a 4-star prospect, one of the highest rated tight ends in the class this past year. Not exactly sure, especially given that he is arriving later than everyone else. Not really sure how he fits in this season, but as far as like future projections, very excited about what he can bring.
And tight end is just not one of those positions where you walk in and just, hey, I'm here, guys.
Yeah. It's not really the sexiest position.
Well, but it takes time to learn all the nuances, to develop. I mean, I'm playing this same game with my Bears friends who are expecting Colston Loveland to be the number 1 tight end in the world next year.
He's going to go for 1,600 yards this year.
Yeah, Gronkowski, Kelsey, Kittle, who? Yeah, I'm like, guys, just first year tight ends. Young tight end takes a minute to develop, in my opinion. And I think Kaleb Edwards will be a good player, but I'm not sure what his impact will be on the offense. And this is all kind of follow up from a comment that I got saying, where was Kaleb Edwards in your article? And I appreciated that, definitely, because that was a fail on Joe's end. But I don't know if that he's going to be real, 8 receptions this year, maybe less, probably less.
Yeah,
if I had to guess.
I don't know how much he gets. Like you said, it's just I think he is a guy that when we were kind of talking about it briefly right before we started recording, like he's a guy who has I think a higher ceiling than just about any other tight end in the room as far as his receiving ability goes. but I do think he lacks a bit of that in the blocking departments. And, you just have to learn that stuff. And it like you said, it takes time.
All right, so here we are, flipping to the defensive side of the ball. Kane Womack.
We got to come up with a good nickname for him. I don't know, something that's like crafty and creative.
Whatever it is, like the thought that just like
the puppeteer,
right? I like that. What is it, marionette?
Yeah.
The thought that came to my head, like in the pause right there, was just how fortunate Alabama is to have someone who, my perception is, I found out all the hooey that you have to do as a head coach, and sure, tried to do. I'm sure he tried to give South Alabama his absolute best. Not saying he sandbagged it at all, not even 1 teeny %. But I think that he had the experience of a head coach. It's like, defensive coordinator is much more my speed. So you've got 2 head coaches on this team that. Yeah. Not to say that Coach DeBoer's not looking at the defense. He is, absolutely. He's the head coach. But I think that just the leadership factor, the experience factor. Everybody cried about Jeremy Pruitt for the last handful of years. Everybody was, we missed Kirby Smart for the last handful of years. I don't know. I'm really looking forward to seeing what this defense will do this year, particularly as they came on last year. 3, 4, 5 weeks in, it was kind of like, okay, what's this defense doing? But they just started to really lock in and get lethal. And then you bring back everything that you brought back. You could have lost Damani. You could have lost LT Overton. You could have lost Tim Keenan. That would have been a huge risk, but you could have lost him due to eligibility. You could have lost Jamarian Latham. You could have lost, keep on going. You could have lost Justin Jefferson, Deontay Lawson. You bring in the Kai Hill Green, but he could have gone to the league too. Keon Sabb, that's not lucky that you get him back because of injury, but yeah, his injury brings him back another year. You could have lost a lot. You could have lost some decent pieces. Bringing back Damani in the 2025 draft, last week, was a 5th round pick? Was a 4th round pick?
I would think so.
Okay. All right. Tim Keenan, when did Tim Smith go? Tim Smith was a 5th, 6th round pick. Tim Keenan's just like him.
Mm-hmm.
You bring him back. LT was probably a 4th round pick, 3rd, 4th round pick.
Yeah, positional value there.
Right. I am excited about what you bring back because these guys are all expected to take a step forward. What's your overall thoughts on the defense? And then we'll start diving into each position.
I'm right there with you. I'm really excited. I think, a lot of people kind of just because of the way the season went, maybe had this perception that the defense wasn't that great last year. But when you really dig into it, like the defense really kept you in a lot of games at a lot of points. The defense did their job a lot more often than they did not do their job. And especially in that back, 3, 4, 5 games of the season, like you said, throw that bowl game out. We don't really have to think about that one. Nobody wanted to be there. I don't think anybody really had any interest in playing in that one that much. But I am very excited about this defense. Another year of just these guys learning what was a brand new system to them last year. Getting more comfortable with all the calls, getting more comfortable with the, everything that you have to read and recognize as a defender. I think it will only be a positive for them. And, like you said, there's 3 or 4 guys on this defense that probably would have been draft picks this past year. Excuse me. And you get them back. So I'm very excited to see what they can do just in another year under Kane Womack.
Our man Everett Osmer chimes in with a joke. The next graduation speaker at Alabama is Ray Mysterio Jr. I think that's you, and Randy Orton Jr. I think that's me. So
I'd be cool with that.
I would not waste their time. I'd say, "Hey guys, great job graduating. If you want to take a picture with us, halfway F celebrities, we'll be over here." and then just get them on stage. not
if it had been Rey Mysterio, actually, that would have maybe gotten me to actually go to my graduation. I was not one that attended mine. I said, "Send me mine in the mail. Thank you very much." And then I got my diploma all bent to pieces in the mail. That was awesome.
Ooh, that's not good. That's not good at all.
Good times. It's been a few years now. I'm over it.
You seem over it.
It got nice and flattened out. I had to sit under some textbooks for about a week or so, and then it was good now.
Speaking of graduating, 98 Alabama athletes are graduating this week. This weekend, 11 football players Jeremiah Alexander, before he goes on to Clemson, gets his
Good on him.
degree. There you go. Prince Butler, Kobe Cruz, Josh Cuevas, Caleb Fleming, Elijah May, Jam Miller, Graham Nicholson, Nick Serpa, Adam Thorsland, and Gino Vanderbark, all getting undergraduate, except Nick Serpa and Adam Thorsland, excuse me. Serpa, double major, and Adam Thorsland's getting his master's. Great job.
Well, good on them. Roll Tide.
Hope they all enjoy it. You can read the list of all 98 graduates on BamaCentral.com. My man Hunter DeCiver was doing work last night. It's got it broken down into sports, baseball, basketball, men's and women's basketball, football, golf, all kinds of things.
That's quite the task to go through and just separate all of those out. I'm sure that's a lot of just scouring through press releases. And
I think there might have been one press release that made it pretty clear.
Well, we're trying to give Hunter. We got to give Hunter a little credit here.
Hey, dude, he was doing the work. I wasn't. So whether it was a press release or not, he absolutely gets the credit.
98. That's a pretty good amount. I feel like.
Yeah, across all the sports, that's good. Spring graduates, great. All right. Last year, big old concern was a secondary. So why don't we start right there? Because I think this is the no-fly zone.
From zero to hero right now. Like this is, went from, like you said, being a slight concern to now this is what I feel the strength of the defense.
What does Cam Calhoun do for this defense in this aspect? You got Zabian and Damani playing corner. Great. And then they're going to be your ones.
Mm-hmm.
Working Cam Calhoun. You're going to have Dijon Lee and Chuck McDonald on the side. You got Deshaun Jones on the side also. Playing Husky, but, in and out right there.
Mm-hmm.
I think that what you've got in Zabian and Damani, great, 1 and 1A, right?
Sure.
Okay, one gets tired. They come off the field. Cam goes right on the field. You're not having to turn, right? We're all excited about Dijon Lee. We're all excited about Chuck McDonald. We are. And
Sure.
they look, at least Dijon. Awesome. Dijon, we've seen him in person, looks like a cyborg. Looks like just built out of a lab. How do I want to make a cornerback? Dijon Lee, spit out of the printer. Okay. Sure. We're excited. But we have seen Cam Coleman play corner at the college level.
Mm-hmm.
PFF, I believe, has him as the 10th best college corner, returning from last year. Obviously at Utah last year, right?
And he was good at Utah last year.
That's what I said. 10th best.
Was good at Utah. The bit that I watched and highlights, so take it with you, Will.
Sure.
But take it as you will. But man, impressive. And then we saw him at A-Day a little bit, Again, take that with a grain of salt, but looked the part, looked very, had long arms, super athletic, really
fluid.
Yes, moves very smoothly. Yeah, I'm very impressed with him. I think he will only get better now that he's here.
So that's the setup, Mason Woods. How important? What the value of Cam Calhoun?
Sure.
Allowing you to say, Dijon, that was a bad rep. Come off the field. Let's talk about it. So you're not stuck out there over and over and over. The freshman spinning.
Yep.
Like Zabian, sorry, buddy. Last year you just had to suck it up and deal with it. You're out there, and we saw a heavy rotation from the defensive backs last year. Zabian Brown, Damani Jackson. We saw Jalen and Blockway getting time, and who am I missing? I'm missing 2 or 3 others, really. You saw a lot heavy rotation, but still it was, we're starting a freshman. Hope he does good. I think that the Cam Calhoun ad gives a long runway for Dijon Lee and say, you are ready. Get out there and go lock somebody down.
Yeah, I think so too. And, I would imagine Cam Calhoun came into this situation kind of knowing hey, I'm not going to be the 1 or 2 guy. I am going to be kind of this third guy behind Zabian and Damani. And, and I think it gives him an opportunity because he's still a younger. He's only a sophomore, right? He spent 1 year at Utah.
It's fun though.
So I'm pretty sure he is. Regardless, it gives him time to play in that third role this year. And then if, the cards play out this way, he has an opportunity to take over next year as kind of a number 1 guy with Dijon Lee or Chuck McDonald as the other guy.
He's a redshirt sophomore. He spent 1 season at Michigan and redshirted, transferred to Utah, played for 11 games, and then transferred.
So, I think it's extremely valuable just to not have to, to not be forced to throw a freshman out there if, like you said, Zabian or Damani just can't go for a couple plays. You now have a guy who at least has collegiate experience and has put very good things on tape.
Yeah, and I think that this makes the Husky position extremely competitive. Extremely competitive. Okay, if you're reading and if you're following along with us on the BamaCentral depth chart that I wrote, I do have Damani and Zabian as your ones on the corners. Let me scroll down because I'm just looking at the chart. All right. And I've got Cam Calhoun and Dijon Lee as your twos on the corner. On the three, I put Deshaun Jones and Chuck McDonald. Now, I don't know that we're ever really going to get there, but what I think is going to end up happening is you look at the Husky position, which becomes a third safety, a nickel corner, a run, a hybrid linebacker type sort of. I think Deshaun Jones is going to get a lot of run there as far as pass options, as far as pass protection, passing downs. I think Red Morgan's probably going to be one of your guys in run situations.
But Morgan's a thumper.
Yeah, but I think Cam Calhoun's going to find himself in the Husky position as well. Like, yeah, put him at third corner, but I think he's going to challenge for starting Husky a bit.
Which, he has such great movement and everything. He's able to cover so much ground so quickly. I think he would fit in very well there, which is kind of what you need that position to do. Obviously, like you said, it's situational who you're throwing out there, kind of what you're needing out of them. But in certain situations, his skill set would be very valuable.
Yeah, Mo Linguist has an embarrassment of riches, in my opinion. Like, you went from last year for, hey, buddy, you got to coach these guys up. You and Malachi Moore better get these guys up to, like, I think that Mo Linguist's job more this year is to kind of keep people happy. Hey, guys, Chuck, or, whoever.
Yeah, pick a name.
Damani's going to be a first-round, second-round pick and gone. That spot's going to open next year. You're still young. The runway is runwaying, same with Keon Sapp. I mean, Keon probably going to be a first, second round pick. You're going to open up another safety position. So Zay Mincy, you really don't want to be losing him. I think Zay Mincy is a really talented player, but the rooms are just so crowded.
It's just it's a good problem to have.
It's a better problem to have than what we've been crying about, depth issues in the portal, losing all the depth, losing all the twos and threes. Nick Saban cried for the last 3 years about, all our twos and threes are and cried, rightfully so. It makes things things challenging,
makes things near impossible.
What do you think these? Let's try to view it from the flip side. What do you think these the quarterbacks are? How do you think these defensive backs are helping to pick the quarterback? Do you understand what I'm trying to say? The talent of these defensive backs are challenging these quarterbacks.
Absolutely.
Maybe not much more than last year, but more than last year. We'll say that. Maybe a marginal degree higher than last year.
I think so for sure. And I mean, that's just really valuable when you're evaluating quarterbacks. You are seeing them go against guys who, and again, maybe we're incorrect about this, but I feel pretty confident that Damani Jackson is a first-round selection this year, and Zabian Brown is probably going to be a pretty highly rated draft pick as well. So you are getting to go directly up against guys who are at the highest level of this position. Basically, that's so extremely valuable when you're talking about just trying to figure out the minute differences between these, because look, they're all great. All three of them are very talented. There's a reason they are at the University of Alabama to play quarterback. They're all really highly rated recruits. Everybody, a lot of people have scouted them.
But what about the one I don't like? The guy I don't like isn't. The other two are good.
Sure, they're all good at quarterback. There is minute differences between the three of them. One guy does one thing better than the other two. One guy does one thing better than
that one's my guy.
There's so many different factors, and having being able to see them go against what is essentially the highest level of this competition available to them is really, really valuable. It just gives you an even better idea of what you have in there.
So I'm excited. I'm really excited about it. And maybe I'm excited about it because I played safety and outside linebacker. So these are kind of like what I'm juiced about myself. I don't know. I think I think Zay Mincy's going to be. You really. I think you really want to find a place to get him on the field. You're not taking Keon Sabb. You're not taking Bray Hubbard off the field. But I think you really want to find a place to get Xavier Mincy and his length on the field. So, it's gonna be fun. Mo Linguist, embarrassment of riches. It's Jay Jones, right? Jay Jones. No, Jason Jones, the new defensive back. Jason or Jay?
I think it's Jason.
I think it is too. I think I typed it in wrong. Jason Jones. Oh my Google.
Yeah.
All right. So Jason Jones, cornerbacks coach, Mo Linguist, overall secondary. They got not their hands full in a bad way.
No.
I think you're going to have to be playing. Be patient, Billy. Be patient, Charlie.
How many bone crushing hits is Bray Hubbard going to deliver this year?
Define bone crushing. So where he injures someone.
We won't say like injures, but hurts. Yes, he's got to come off the field for a play. Not Bray.
Right. 5.
that feels like a good number.
Yeah, I was gonna say 4.
We want to set a line.
Yeah, 4.5. Set it at 5.5.
Bray Hubbard, you got jacked up hits this year.
And when it was
we need to bring that segment back.
Write down it. Open a notes section. Write that down. Right, that's a good one. And every time he does it, we'll add to the compilation. I can record the games. I can fit. Yeah, write that down. Good idea. Great idea. As Mason Woods.
And we do one for Red Morgan too.
Boy, I know you love Red Morgan.
I just love, yeah.
Is it because of his name, or is it because Central Phoenix City, or is it just because
of
how Alabama he is?
Yes,
because
he feels like Malachi Moore reincarnate, basically, to me. Like it just a guy that is going to go out there and be extremely passionate about playing for the Alabama Crimson Tide, wearing that crimson jersey, and damn it, he's going to hit the crap out of you. Whether it's beneficial or not, he's going to hit you real hard.
I think Red Morgan is going to sleep muttering Bear Pine quotes.
Yes, like
if you want to walk the streets of gold, you got to say the password.
Love that
roll
guy.
Tide, roll Tide.
That was my senior quote in high school. It was a pretty good one.
I mean, doesn't it get any better than that? So, all right. Yeah, you wrote that down for Red and for Bray Hubbard. And we'll move on. You want to go inside, outside, or the 2 defensive fronts? Inside linebacker, outside linebackers, or the I guess 3 technically defensive front?
Let's hit these inside linebackers because I feel like this is maybe the bit of well, you know what? No, let's save that for the end. Let's go D line because I feel like inside linebacker is maybe a bit of our question mark spot, and we'll save that for the end.
Pick your favorite defensive lineman this year. Oh, my gosh. Pick your favorite defensive lineman challenge, Joe, between James Smith, LT Overton, Kelby Collins. Oh, gosh. I'm going to have a hard time picking a favorite.
And I don't know how much impact he's going to have.
Is it going to be Steve?
It's got to be Steve. Yeah. I got to roll with my guy, Steve.
Well, if you get that's the only reason I came to the roster so that I could look at his the it's 35, right? He's wearing 35, right?
You're right.
Yeah. No, that's not right.
25.
25. Okay, let me scroll up. 25. It's Steve Boomwa, isn't it? Yes. Steve Bola Boomwa. It looks nothing like it says. It sounds nothing like it looks. Bolo Boomwa.
It's crazy because I really thought we had nailed it with Mbuamua.
I did too.
Felt like, oh yeah, that's for sure it. Just completely incorrect.
Steve Bola Boomwa. We got to just practice it. Hey, look, I annoyed the mess out of my Tennessee fan friend with Nico because I was like, how do you say his name? Because I hear it 5 different ways. And he goes, Iamaliava. And I go, just a million times. Iamaliava. And he just like, stop saying his name. You got to figure out how to say it. Steve Bola. All right.
I'm excited about Steve.
Why are you excited for Steve? I'll just let you go first.
Something about just a big defensive tackle that eats up space. Like that is just one of my favorite categories of defensive linemen. And Steve Bolo Boomwa feels like one of those guys.
6'4", 298. Hold on.
Yeah.
Quinnen Williams. Is that body type about the same? Oh, is that body type about the same? 6'4", 298 as a college kid, of course. 6'3", 303 for Mr. Quentin Williams. That's what just popped in my head because of the like he's got a little fast twitch in him.
Yeah.
And I think that defensive line coach Freddie Roach, every time that we were at practice, what was it, twice in the spring? So look, this is 25 minutes of the hours at spring. Freddie Roach was in Steve's rear end. Not in a, you're doing it bad, Steve, but in a, come on, baby, give me some more.
Yeah.
Give me some more. Give me some more. Like, it wasn't a, you suck, Steve.
No,
it was a,
like,
I
want to see you do this,
right? Because
we want you to be good.
It was a, I know you got it in you, buddy, kind of thing. And so, yeah, I don't think that that's a bad pick.
I do love
young.
Yes, young. I mean, as far as like actual production, I'm not sure you're going to get, 13 sacks from him or anything this year like that. But I think when he is on the field, you will notice he is on the field.
Yeah, so came in from junior college, Mississippi, because of
some credits that didn't transfer, right?
No, he's from French Canada. I want to say Canada.
He is French Canadian.
French Canadian. I don't think that he had an English class. There was an English class or a history class that he didn't have in high school that Alabama and all the other colleges are like, hey, man.
Sorry. He went to East Mississippi, didn't he?
Right, to get his credits up and to, get his muscle up a little bit. But apparently the whole year, Coach Roach was, how we doing? Good. How's the work? I think that this is a... We spot you, buddy. kind of a pick.
I'm excited about him.
I am too. Okay. I think if I had to pick, my most excited is probably James Smith because of the local factor. He and James Smith and Quay Roos all together being high school teammates at Carver. I think that James came on last year. And look, no disrespect to Tim Smith. Tim was a fine player.
Yeah.
But I think that James Smith is more of a impactful. You're going to have to know where I am. You're going to have to account for me.
There's a reason Tim Smith was a 7th round pick.
Yeah.
Good player, good enough to be in the NFL, selected by a team, but not elite or really kind of at that top level of that. I like James Smith. That's a good one.
All right, pick. Well, I guess you. I guess you probably already would with Bola Boomwa. I was gonna say pick your breakout defensive lineman.
Yeah, it's probably my guy. I mean, Kelby Collins. Does that count? I mean, he was pretty good. He was pretty good at Florida. Pretty good at Florida, but he can break out in crimson too, I guess.
I was going to say Jeremiah Beeman. I think Jeremiah Beeman's going to get some run.
Big
this
boy.
year.
That's the biggest boy in the group, I think. Oh no, Tim Keenan is.
Yeah,
not by much though. We got 325 and 312 for Jeremiah Beeman. So he's pushing that.
Jeremiah Beeman out of Parker, Birmingham.
Yes, Birmingham.
Not terrible. Ramsey or Parker.
Ramsey. They used to beat up on us when I was in high school. We would not me. I didn't play basketball, but I had a lot of friends who did. And, every year it'd be, all right, state tournament time. We're getting on a bus and going to Birmingham to lose by 35 to Ramsey.
But you look at this defensive front, bandit, defensive tackle, defensive end, and it's another situation. I mean, the whole defense outside of inside linebacker is just, I'm sorry, like this is crimson-colored glasses, but stupid loaded depth-wise. Not every player's a superstar, of course. Not every player's a star, but like you're rolling out with LT, Tim Keenan, and James Smith, and you ask any Alabama fan, they're going to be like, yeah, hell yeah, great. And then you say, okay, your next 3 players are probably Kelby Collins, Jordan Renaud, and Jeremiah Beeman. And you're like, oh, sweet.
Hey, that's pretty good.
Yeah, and then, and here's this X Factor, Bola Boomwa, who might be just a game wrecker on pass rushing downs. You want to throw him in there sometimes up, and just like Edric Hill was a highly rated player from Buford who's supposed to be taking a step forward. I don't know. It's I think it's a big year for Freddie Roach. I think it's a really big year for Freddie Roach because Mason, you're not a dummy. You've been seeing things online for the last 3 years. is Freddie Roach worth it? What's
Sure.
he doing? And before I even throw it to you, we know that he is a primetime recruiter on this staff. Like, maybe the A+ recruiter on the staff. You got a lot of good ones, but he is a standout.
Yeah.
So with that, and then, hello, alum. Hello, I played with, D'Amico Ryans, right? Yeah, that was the name I was looking for. I bled on these fields.
There is so much with Freddie Roach outside of just specifically like the way that he coaches the X's and O's defensive line. Like so much more that he brings to the table that is extremely, extremely valuable that you cannot get from any other person at that job.
We need to go hire Bo Davis every year. Hire Bo Davis. Man.
Trust the process. There's a reason Freddie Roach is still on this staff.
But this is a big year for Freddie.
Sure. I do. I mean, I think that, yes, it would certainly help him to produce a first-round defensive lineman, first-round defender.
In terms of his relation, no, I don't know what his relationship with Kalen is. Really, that's ignorant to speak on. But in terms of his value on the staff, it would be, I think it would be really beneficial if these defensive linemen had a good year and he could be like, hey, you're a hell of a recruiter and your guys produced.
Yes, because I do think that
you set the culture in this building and your guys are really good.
Yeah, like I don't think, I agree with the fans that are a bit upset with the production you've gotten out of the defensive line lately. Like I see your concern. I understand it. It is not what we have, grown used to at Alabama.
Yeah.
And I do think that, without all of the recruiting and I've got this connection to Alabama. I can call up all these guys and have connections. Without all of that, Freddie Roach may not have a job at Alabama anymore.
Sure.
But he does have all of that. And no one else in the country has all of that. So that's what's kept him around. Now, I think if he, like you said, gets a good defensive line together, it only solidifies why he's around.
I think that the people over the last 3 years that had him in their crosshairs, I think are foolish. I'm sorry. I think that's a foolish opinion. And I'm not only saying that because he gives me heck for my Bears hat whenever I see him, which he does, and it's fun. But I think he means a ton to the program as far as giving the players somebody I can talk to, recruiting, setting the culture, remember win stories, right? Well, back in it's invaluable.
I mean, we've talked about it. I don't know how many times the collapse of the 2025 class after the announcement and everything of the retirement, and Freddie Roach played such a crucial role in keeping everything, helping keep all those guys, getting all those recruits back, getting new commitments and everything. He is such a big time recruiter. He is. This week was traveling out to see recruits. Yes, man, that is college football begins and ends with recruiting. If you can't recruit, you can't win. And damn it, he can recruit.
Yeah, I may be wearing my crimson colored glasses a little too thick there, but he would be one of the last people that would be under my crosshairs. But I just know that is one of the narratives because your last prominent defensive lineman was Christian Barmore, probably. And Ferdarian Mathis, not even qualifies. I'm sorry. Good, but not great.
Yeah. No, I think Barmore's probably the right call. What was it, 2020? 2019? Was it 2020?
I think it was 2020. I think it was. I think he got drafted in that 2020 draft by the Patriots. All right, so that's Bandit. That's defensive tackle and defensive end. I guess just to be real specific, at Bandit, I wrote down LT Overton. I wrote down Kelby Collins and Jordan Renaud as the twos, rotating together as the twos. You could probably even put in Jamarian Latham because Jamarian Latham is going to play both Wolf and Bandit. I just didn't really have enough room on my chart. I wanted to make it as aesthetically pleasing as I could. But I think Kelby Collins, Jordan Renaud, Jamarian Latham, and even LT Overton, the four of them are going to kind of man your Bandit reps. Man, Keon Keeley, I'm pulling for you, brother. But as we just said, buried. This room is full. Yeah. On the defensive end side, opposite Tim Keenan, I got James Smith, number 1. I got Edric Hill, number 2. And I got Steve Bolabumwa, number 3, with London Simmons. London. I did that last time. With London Simmons, number 4. But I do think that you're going to see a good bit of all three of those first three, James Smith, Edric Hill, and Bola Bumwa. I think Bola Bumwa, as we alluded to, will be more situational.
Yeah.
But I think you got at least two solid players to get you started at defensive end. In defensive tackle, we obviously have Tim Keenan. You do too. Number one, he's been number one right there for 3 years. Jeremiah Bean, number two, and Isaiah Funga. I was coached up on how to say his name as well. It's not Isaiah Faga. It's Isaiah. Isaiah Funga.
I guess it's like Tagovailoa.
Right,
Yeah,
right,
makes
right,
sense.
right. Isaiah Funga. Perfect. We want to make sure we're saying all these young men's names correctly. All right, you want to look at the Wolf. Oh, my gosh. Again, how do you get Noah Carter? How do you get how do you get Yanzi Pierre? How do you get these guys on the field over Quay Rusaw? You can't.
I'm glad that's not my job. I'm glad I'm not the one that's having to meet with each of these kids 2 or 3 times a day to say, "Don't you worry, buddy. We're gonna get you in there. We got a role for you. Oh, you're gonna be a star this year.
Right.
We got a spot for you, buddy." I am glad that's not a problem I have because it is an embarrassment of riches once again.
I mean, I think Quay Rusaw is a killer. Sorry, that's hyperbolic, but I think he is not someone I want to be trying to block.
No, he's got that switch.
Yes, yes. You want to try me? No, I don't want to try.
He blacks out, hits tunnel vision, and it's like, let's go, buddy.
And then you've just got the experience factor, which like Jamarian Latham is such an interesting piece to me because he should be gone. I'm sorry, like just
sure
for.
By like historically,
right. By graduating, by eligibility,
yes.
all that stuff, you should be gone. But COVID and everything, extra years, whatever, he's back again, and I'm not upset about it. No, I don't hear it that way. But I just don't know where to place him, and I do think he's. You want to talk about important people, important just people in the building. I think he's a very important person in the building. Mr. Pickens County High School Tornado from right down the road. You want to talk about culture setter? I'm pretty sure Jamarian Latham is the only player in this building wearing a national championship ring.
Yeah, I think you're correct.
So he's very valuable, but
you think he's flexing on? You think he's like flexing it on everybody? He just shows up, one day a week. He just kind of nonchalantly slips it on and walks.
What he should be doing is wearing it every week and once a week picking someone new to punch in the face with it.
Leave a big mark on their forehead.
This is what we're playing for, buddy.
2020 national champion.
Pow! Don't you want one of these? Pow! None of you jokers have one of these. We all need to be wearing one of these at the end of the year. You just need to pick someone at once a week that's like, oh, you're on IR. Conk.
Coming up, buddy.
I'm totally teasing for the record's sake, but I do think that he's probably using it as a prop in some settings.
Back in my day, we couldn't work out together. We had to wear masks. I had to get tested 5 times a day.
Do you know how much I did for this? You're complaining about this workout.
Oh, man,
do you know how many nasal swabs? My nose still bleeds today for this ring.
Yeah, that's what it's got to be. I hope that's what he's doing. And they're trying to really relay that message. Underrated part of that championship season. And I mean, obviously people talked about all of the distractions with the COVID and everything, but just as far as the monotonous day-to-day, good God, we have to do this every day. No one can touch each other. No one can speak to each other. That had to have been awful.
The football team basically isolated from the whole campus.
In the mountain.
Yes. And
they created their own quarantine zone.
Right. And it's like every time you come into Malmore, no swab. And it's like, oh my God. And then
had to have been
there ain't no going out. There ain't no going to class. There ain't no, it's just like, oh, what hell did Jamarian Latham. I hope that you are using that as a prop.
I do too.
All right. So Quayru's obvious starter at Wolf.
Sure.
Jamarian Latham's going to work himself in. We got Yanzi Pierre, Fatutua Henry. It's not Cavante. He's going to go by Fatutua.
Still is throwing me off. I got to remember.
I just got to read it. I just got to read it over. Fatutua Henry. Noah Carter and Justin Hill as well. Take Quay, take Jamarian Latham away. Who breaks out?
I feel like Yanzi Pierre feels like the kind of wild card here, right? He's the I don't want to. Black sheep is the wrong word to use, but like just the guy that
man.
Yeah, the guy that kind of sticks out to me here is like, hey, we all kind of did forget about him. I feel like he is in prime spot to be a breakout player. Where kind of similar to how we talked about with Steve Bola Boomwa. Not necessarily going to be the most productive, not going to lead the team in sacks or tackles or anything like that, maybe. But as far as when he's on the field, people are going to know that he's on the field. I feel like Yanzi Pierre is that kind of guy.
I love the Yanzi Pierre pick. Eufaula, Alabama. I love it, to be honest with you. But for the sake of the show and for the sake of going differently, I think Justin Hill might get that run. I think Justin Hill might get thrown in there on third downs only. Sort of situation. You remember how they used to how Dallas Turner's first year with Will Anderson. It was Will.
What was they had a name for the package, wasn't it?
Cheetah package.
Yeah,
it was
right.
Will. Oh my gosh, who was the other? Not Will Dallas and Chris Braswell, right? But there was somebody else I'm missing before that. Anyways, Dallas got on the field as a freshman, Will sophomore year, and ended up with like 6-7 sacks or so. And it wasn't like, oh, he's taking over the game, but every time that he's in there, pass rush, he might go get a sack. I think that might be Justin Hill.
Be a good role to have,
or Yanzi Pierre.
I mean, I think you somebody is filling that role. I think really any of these four guys, Yanzi Pierre, Fatu Toa, Henry, Noah Carter, Justin Hill, really any of those guys could fill that spot. But I'm with you. Justin Hill's electrifying, extremely highly rated recruit. Very, very impressive what he did in high school. I'm excited to see him. Kind of a tall, kind of fast, a little bit. Maybe doesn't quite have the bulk on him, but really, really athletic.
Dallas Turner's freshman year, he ended up with 8.5 sacks. 8.5 sacks on 30 total tackles, kind of playing as Will Anderson's second. I think that might be what you see out of Yanzi Pierre, Justin Hill. One of these types is going to pop for 4, 5, 7 sacks that you're like, oh, we need to get him on the field more.
They do have Justin Hill listed at 242, which is bigger than I thought.
Yeah,
he looks in high. The videos from high school did not look too beat. He looks, slender, a little bit. But he's packed on some LBs though.
I think he's just a pass rushing specialist right now, which I think is
great. Hey, that's what you need. You don't need a guy who is going to be contending to be on the field every
freshman.
down.
Right,
yes.
right.
Because that just clogs things up.
I think he might get some run. Yeah, I think he might get some run. That's just a gut feeling and just kind of.
I mean, I really like him as a
listening to people talk. Who was it? It was, Jamarian Latham. The last time we chatted with him was talking about how beastly he was, how just off the edge, just fast twitch he was. And obviously, they're going to talk nice about everybody, but that's me drinking a little Kool-Aid. I think he's going to be a good player, and I think he's going to be a sneaky addition to this defense.
We got to set a preseason line before we get into it for sacks for him.
Oh,
we can wait. We can wait till we get a little closer, or if you want to do it, what do you think?
I will wait till we get closer, but my gut feeling is 4.5.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. All right, so before we go into the inside linebackers, let me tell you about our friends Warren Tire and Auto.
So my name is Russ Warren, and I'm one of the owners here at Warren Tire. We started in 1961. My granddad on University Boulevard, so we've been kind of a staple here in the Tuscaloosa and the University of Alabama community since then. And so thankful to be in the third generation. And we have 2 locations now in Tuscaloosa. We're right here at the 15th Street location right now, where we just do tires, brakes, and alignments mostly here. Our university location does oil changes, engine work, air conditioning work, front end work, the whole 9 yards. And so any of our 2 locations, you can come check us out.
All right, we're live here in the Derek Daniels State Farm Studios on the Joe Gaither Show on BamaCentral and BamaCentral.com. Hope you guys are having a great day and looking forward to the weekend. We've been breaking down Alabama's defensive depth chart today. Well, we should have done yesterday. And we've made it all the way to the end. And Mason Woods, I know I've been banging the drum. The inside linebacker is a problem. The inside linebacker is a concern. I'm not putting the drum away, but I am slowing down my cadence. I'm gonna slow down my cadence because I'm hearing myself, or I'm hearing all the others last year talking about secondary, such a question, and it ended up being fairly fine, fairly good, mostly good.
Sure.
And we're hearing everybody inside linebacker, such a question for 2025. We look at the actual names in order, of course. We know Deontay Lawson's still recovering from an ACL injury. Justin Jefferson wasn't all there in spring, but I think is a really quality player. And really probably saw what happened with Jahad Campbell this year and thinking that he can do the same thing over again. You bring in Kaleb Green, a tackling machine out of Colorado, very, very experienced. And then I'm sorry, but maybe the 2 hours that I saw of Abdul Sanders and Caden Jones and QB Reese at 8A gave me a little bit of, what you thinking here with the inside linebackers? Are you are you still, because where was my concern? My concern was at an 8. Now my concern out of 10.
Yeah.
Now my concern for the inside linebackers is probably closer to a 5.5. It's still the highest of any of these position groups, but yeah, 5.5.
I'd say that kind of midway range is about where I've been. I don't really know that I ever quite reached an 8. I feel confident that Justin Jefferson, I mean, he's been here long enough. I think surely you're going to get at least competent play from him.
Yeah.
I don't think you're going to get bad play. I think he's a high floor kind of guy. May not be the top end elite talent, but I don't think you're going to get bad play out of him. And then I do think you will get high end, top end play from Deontay Lawson. Abdul Sanders,
true freshman.
Yeah, a guy we don't know much about, electrifying recruit, very exciting recruit, but just a guy we don't know a ton about. Kaleb Green, he's bounced around so much, it's hard to really get a read on him as a player. I think he will provide good depth. I think that's really all he was brought here for, was just kind of be a depth piece. If the knock on wood, somebody goes down, and I don't think he was brought in necessarily to be a starter to take anybody's job or anything like that. So yeah, I mean, like I said, Deontay Lawson's really the only guy right now in the group that I feel confident about saying, like, hey, this guy could be a first round pick. But I think some of these younger guys certainly have that ceiling. We just haven't seen it yet. So I feel good about this group. Like you said, I don't think you'd ever be upset at having a little bit more experience in there, but it just gives an opportunity for the younger guys to get the feel for it quicker.
All right, you're looking at Justin Jefferson, Deontay Lawson, and Kaleb Green. Take those 3 away. Which of the 3, Abdul Sanders, Caden Jones, or QB Reese, will make a name for himself this year?
QB Reese is probably the right pick.
But hey, Tim Keenan loves that young man.
Yeah.
Tim Keenan said he's been said he's been eating, said he's been hungry, said he's been aggressive. Tim Keenan was singing his praises very loudly at the last media availability.
I think I'm going to go with Abdul Sanders, though.
He was the one that actually got the reports. Oh, Abdul had a good scrimmage. Oh, Abdul had a good twice. And then we saw him at 8A and ended up getting one of the interceptions, I believe. Yeah, picked off Austin Mack. I think he did. And then you just got the pedigree. I think also Abdul Sanders is a good pick because of the modern day factor.
Yeah,
You've already been playing high level football for your level. Like you modern day, you're playing at the top end of high school football. Of course, you're not playing SEC, but like
you're as close to it as you basically can be,
as you can get.
Yes,
I think that's a really good pick.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at his high school stats here. 123 tackles in 3 seasons.
Undersized, but just a go-getter.
Yeah, I think that's a good description of him as a player. I think 3 years of varsity football, 123 tackles, 19 sacks. Not like super jump off the page, like some of these other guys did in high school. But again, like you said, he's playing at the highest level of high school possible, and he's still being very productive. That's still good seasons from this position. Absolutely. So that's who I'm going to go with. Similar to the other 2 guys we picked. Don't know exactly how much he's going to be on the field, but might be a guy where when he is on the field, you really notice him.
Yeah, I think that the 3 that I just tossed out are probably just up for spot duty. But in that spot duty, are you going to make a play?
Yeah,
that was kind of my question. Yeah,
sure.
Right there. Because I do think Nakai Hill-Green, Justin Jefferson, and Deontay Lawson will obviously lead the way right there.
Yeah.
Especially if Deontay's healthy, then you ain't getting him off the field. And I hope that for you, sir.
Yeah.
Great. My concern is due to my own personal bias with having some knee surgeries myself. So you're a much better athlete than I ever was. So great. You can recover and go get yourself drafted in the NFL draft. Mason Woods, that's every position on the Alabama defense. I don't much care about special teams right now, honestly.
It's kind of a lot of question marks there.
Alex Asparov at punter. We ain't gonna be punting. We don't need you. Ty Simpson, no punts. It's field goals and extra points. It's extra points all day. Right? It's extra points all day. So no punt. Alex Asparov needs to work on his holding, catching and holding for the extra points. And then you have Connor Talty. Yes. It's now Connor's time because you go out and got Graham Nicholson last year, spent more money than you needed to, and he only kicked 10 field goals the whole year. I think they got Nicholson due to just insurance for Connor Talty, and just because, hey, why not? Why we can go.
He's there. Why not get him? I always felt like, and again,
but I have no idea what to expect with Connor Talty.
Yeah, I don't either, and I don't know anything about. I was not at all connected when they brought in Nicholson, but I always felt like, ooh, do they not like what they have in Talty?
Well, that was
scared about what they have in Talty.
Yes, I mean that was 100% the perception last year.
Yeah,
and then. And Nicholson probably, I think if you got inside the building with some true serum, I think that they would say that did not work out the way that they wanted to. Now, granted, you didn't have to kick a whole lot of field goals anyways last year.
And he was fine. Fine. Not what you paid for, but fine.
Yeah, not what you paid for. But again, like you think about last year, what missed kick would have really changed anything?
Yeah, it's not like.
Did you miss one in Oklahoma? I think he did.
I think he did too. Wasn't it? Was it early?
Yeah, Oklahoma, Alabama. He did miss one out there, Oklahoma, didn't he?
It was right as things started to snowball a little bit, and it was like, oh, if we can just get some points, it's okay. And then he missed the field goal.
Let's see, all the way down. No, he was one of one.
Oh no, okay.
He's one of one. He didn't miss. Yeah, because it was 24-3.
I guess I'm thinking of another game. Maybe, who knows? They all run together. I'm so bad at remembering. I have such a terrible memory.
Game logs. Here we go. We'll find out which ones he missed. Right here for Alabama. No, I want 24 game logs. Graham Nicholson, because you missed it. You missed it, Wisconsin. You missed it, Wisconsin. Yeah. It was field goal attempt. You missed it, Wisconsin. That was like a 40-something yarder. You made against Georgia. You were 1 of 2 against Tennessee.
Maybe that's the one I think.
Could have used that. You made 2 against Missouri. You made against Mercer. We don't care. You made against Oklahoma and 2 against Michigan in the bowl game. Great job. So really just two misses. Mm-hmm. Wisconsin and at Tennessee.
And only one of which was maybe even consequential at all.
Right. Connor Talty, full-time punt returner, full-time kick returner. I don't know. What else do we care about with special teams?
We decided we were going to throw Cole Adams at punt returner yesterday or on Wednesday.
I said Connor Talty. Cole Adams was who I meant. The other white name that started with a C.
Is he going to take over both duties?
Why not? He's not.
Yeah, I mean, it's fair. I don't think he's going to.
He and Latsier are just going to.
That would be a dynamic kick returning duo.
Who do you kick to? Nobody.
Neither. Yeah, I don't know. You want to kick to either of them.
Kick that son of a gun out of bounds. Kick it out through the end zone.
I feel good about this group, this defense. I think my confidence level. I'm like an 8.5, 9 out of 10 on this defense.
Ooh, I like that. That's about where I am as well, because I mean, I was talking mess with a Florida State fan friend, and he mess in general, in quotes. And we were talking about the opener, and he was all like, "Oh, I might go," because he's a big time fan, and he goes to their game. I might go. I don't know. We're probably going to lose. Then I was like, I don't know. It's going to be interesting. Alabama's offense has all these question marks, as we outlined on Wednesday, but Alabama's defense is really, really solid. Does the defense give the offense enough time to hey, buddy, give you 2 or 3 drives to get into this game. I don't know. I told him, I said, if Florida State can score early, which will be a huge question, I think.
Sure.
If they can score early and put some pressure on Ty Simpson, Keelan Russell, Austin Mack, then I don't know. I think that game can go either way.
That's like your worst case scenario right there.
Yes. So defense, gentlemen,
Lock in.
just going to need about 5 real good series to start the year.
Yeah.
Like after that, we can have a little cracks and we can work through some kinks.
Mm-hmm.
But the first 5 series of the year
Did you lock it in?
probably need to be executed at a very, very high level.
Did you see the and I probably wouldn't be able to find it again, but the came across my timeline that Thomas Castellanos struggled mightily throughout Florida State's spring football period.
Shocker.
I think I saw some stat that he threw in there like throughout, I don't know, whatever practice. I don't know exactly what stat. It was a lot of interceptions to not many touchdowns. Now, take that as you will. I could have just been fooled by a fake Twitter account. Who knows? I didn't really look into it that much, and that's on me. But I'm not overly concerned about what he can do. You know, I think his legs is really mostly just about all he has as a quarterback.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. So, Kane Womack, quarterback run. We lining that up.
Sure,
We're dialing that in a little bit this year. Let's do that. Mason, what else you got for the day? I think I'm out of juice, and we're ready to go into the weekend. I don't want to burn any topics that we're going to talk about on All Things Bama. We're going to talk about All Things Bama. We're going to have an episode of All Things Bama here in just a minute. You can download that podcast, the same place that you get the Joe Gaither Show on BamaCentral. Mason leads that weekly for us. Anything else we got for the people?
I don't think so, no.
All right, last thing for us is this then. Alabama softball gets a big old run rule victory last night. Has 2 more games against South Carolina today and tomorrow. And then Alabama baseball opens up series against Vanderbilt tonight. At Vanderbilt 6, and then at Vanderbilt on Saturday at 2, at Vanderbilt on Sunday at 3. So we will talk to you on Monday. Keeping an eye on those series. Keeping an eye on the transfer portal to see who comes in, who comes out. You see a little crystal ball. Oh. Crystal ball for Rylan Griffen goes to Texas A&M overnight, so maybe that is the Rylan Griffen return is maybe not looking as promising now. And
Got Keaton Bristow. It's okay.
Bristow, we got you, bro. We're excited about him. We'll talk about all things happening over the weekend on Monday right here on the Joe Gaither Show on BamaCentral and BamaCentral.com.